If the female protagonist and male protagonist are sweet and sweet love stories, the female supporting character is a tragic and cruel story. The supporting women are not satisfied. The supporting women are changing their lives. A female supporting role also needs sweet love to avoid being abused. As a newly appointed employee in the fast-dressing department, Wushuang said, "As long as I can survive and change my destiny, I am good at it. All those who dare to stop her from surviving are enemies and will be defeated." Climbing the bed as a female partner, saving the mother's independence and self-improvement. Abandoning concubines in the cold palace and kicking scumbags, I want to become the Empress Dowager. A lowly female slave, who diligently practiced martial arts, eventually became a great master. From then on, Wushuang began her busy fast-paced life. Keywords of the novel. Quick wear. The path of the goddess of the canon. Fodder girl with no pop-ups, quick wear. The path of the goddess of the canon. Fodder girl with no pop-ups. Download the complete text, quick wear. The path of the goddess of the canon. Fodder girl with the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Female matchmaker does not climb the bed. 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Female matchmaker does not climb the bed. 1. When Wushuang regains consciousness, the first feeling is cold. She felt as if she was buried in ice, so cold that her whole body trembled and her teeth trembled. Opening your eyes with difficulty, you will see a vast expanse of white snow. There was a large group of men and women crying and shouting in their ears, as well as various noisy voices coming in. Wushuang felt herself tightly held in someone's arms, with a slight warmth emanating from the other person's body. Wushuang and 3 women took turns digging for an hour before finally digging out the door that allowed them to enter the snow house. A group of men and women wearing ancient hair buns and ancient costumes were gathered by the collapsed house, crying out the names of their loved ones. However, the mother of Wushuang grabbed Wushuang's hand and said in a somewhat panicked tone, "Don't start a fire. If this snow-made house is burned down, we will freeze again. Let's ignite the fire here, and the little melting snow will immediately turn into water and freeze into ice. Otherwise, she would probably become the first fastware employee in history to freeze to death and set a record for the fastest mission failure." The woman was startled by unparalleled movements and suddenly hugged unparalleled tightly. Wushuang first searched around the collapsed house and barely found a suitable tool. But just 2 people holding each other, relying solely on body temperature to warm each other in such a cold environment, is not feasible. Then Wushuang and his mother Li Qing were selected by the fast-wearing department to become the fast-wearing task force. And I was selected by the Small World Redemption Group. It's so cold, we must quickly find a way to keep warm. Only a small number of people can find blankets to wear and keep warm. However, the snow house was thought of by her daughter, who must be smarter than her. After thinking about it, she still believed in Wushuang. Wushuang struggled down again and said, "You don't need to go anywhere else, mother. Just watch what I do and give me a hand. Let's use this snow as a shelter from the cold." Some are numb as if they are invisible, while others hold hands and watch the excitement without collapsed houses in their homes. Wushuang struggled to get out of the woman holding her. She came up with a statement that could be understood by the ancients. "Mother, it's very cold outside, and as soon as the water is splashed out, it freezes." Wushuang followed the other person's gaze and saw a collapsed house, all crushed by heavy snow. The most important thing is that the temperature inside the snow house is getting higher and higher, and everyone no longer feels cold. The small world refers to the derivative small worlds formed by novels, movies, and TV dramas. Wushuang dragged these things into the snowy house and prepared to ignite a fire to heat it up. Wushuang remembers that his mother Li Qing went to the Smash Squad, specifically to seek revenge for others. The 2 of them were busy together, and soon a large area of snow bricks was placed on the ground. The ground is frozen very hard, making it difficult to dig up. Finally, Wushuang created a snow house that could accommodate 5 or 6 people to move around inside. Finally resolving the frozen death crisis, Wushuang began to have thoughts on her journey. Wushuang is just an ordinary girl in modern society, attending school and working. The door of a snow house should be dug underground, not above ground. Perhaps it was busy, although it was still cold. Wushuang clearly felt that his body was getting hotter and not as cold anymore. But when the snow house was built, she planned to invite these 2 people to live together. The house is built in a circular shape, with gaps covered with snow and snow bricks stacked layer by layer. The busyness of Wushuang and the woman quickly caught the attention of everyone nearby. The hot air rises while the cold air decreases, which can trap the rising hot air and prevent it from running through the door. The woman looked at Wushuang with a sorrowful expression and said, "There is no place to escape the cold. There are collapsed houses and no empty houses in the surrounding 10 miles and 8 villages." One snow brick after another appeared under her hands, and the woman next to her understood and found a tool to help Wushuang. The unparalleled explanation is that women listen with a vague understanding. If you don't believe it, you can save a short video of snowy house. Wushuang did not enter, but went to fetch firewood and straw for the fire. Wushuang also found a broken jar in the yard with frozen ice, took it out, and placed it on a snow wall for light transmission. The final and most crucial step for the snow house is to dig the door. More people's houses are collapsing too badly, and they can't find anything in a short time, so they can only cry. Some people are also searching for food or warm bedding inside collapsed houses. Wushuang held the woman's hand and said, "Mother, we can't do this. We need to find a place to avoid the cold, otherwise we will freeze to death. Frozen into ice is good. Frozen into ice blocks the gaps and the wind won't blow in, making it even hotter inside." Wushuang thought for a moment and realized that science cannot explain it, as ancient people could not understand it. 104, 239, 91, 250 Yaya, don't move around. If I hold you, it won't be cold anymore. If I go down, it will be cold to death. Holding her was a middle-aged woman who looked as skinny as a stick, with a dull gaze ahead and a face full of despair. Wushuang also feels even colder as soon as she leaves the woman. Fortunately, even the matchmaker Flint was found not far from the firewood pile. When going out to buy groceries with his mother Li Qing, they were both brave enough to save a child who ran a red light. Seeing water droplets appearing on the surface of the snow wall, I immediately became nervous and almost extinguished the fire. The masters in the city don't allow the disaster-stricken people to enter the city, so we have nowhere to escape the cold. Wushuang felt that it was almost over, so he started building houses with snow bricks. Wushuang ignited the straw at the fastest speed, and with the addition of firewood, a fire quickly started, and smoke also flowed out from the small hole left above the south side of the snow house. A gust of cold wind blew, and the unparalleled spirit shivered, so cold. The firewood pile is right outside and easy to find. Seeing no signs of melting in the snow room, the 3 women finally breathed a sigh of relief and all showed signs of joy. Fortunately, Wushuang was stopped, and the 3 of them found that these water droplets slowly turned into ice, forming an ice shell inside the snow house. The 2 women and the mother of Wushuang couldn't wait to enter the house. "I don't know what material the clothes on my body are made of, it seems like I haven't worn them yet." At first, the 3 women were all staring at the walls of the snow house, very worried that the snow house would melt. A snow house is warmer with more people, but it's better to have more people to live in. Halfway through the snow bricks, they were not enough. This time, 2 more women were working on the snow bricks together, and they quickly made up for the missing ones. Then gather the surrounding snowballs together, beat them firmly, and cut them into snow bricks. 4 people sat around the fire, with a warm source of fire. The cold wind outside could not blow in, and the warmth gradually increased. The unsurpassed method of avoiding the cold is the Inuit snow house, which is a house that can accommodate people in extremely cold places. Wu Shuang's cold mouth couldn't even open and he didn't want to speak, so he worked with his head closed. Two women also took the initiative and silently helped Wu Shuang and the woman build a house. In the plot of the small world, there will always be some characters with tragic destinies and countless grievances. Some readers have said that there is not as much snow. Have you forgotten that there was heavy snow in the south on January 10, 2008, and the SJZ snow on November 9, 2009 did indeed collapse many old houses with red bricks and tiles. This is what I have seen with my own eyes. This winter, the NMG Gen River and HLJMO River were both around -50 degrees Celsius, and drops of water turned into ice. I only lived in a place with -40 degrees Celsius for 2 years. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Female matchmaker does not climb the bed too. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 3. Female matchmaker does not climb the bed 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 4. Female matchmaker does not climb the bed 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 5. Female matchmaker does not climb the bed 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Female matchmaker does not climb the bed 5. If Lu Wushuang still remembers her mother who died to protect her, she can apply for a rebirth until Bai Shi is not dead. But Lu Wushuang's choice was to be reborn in the royal palace, seduce Shao Jie, and retaliate against Xiao Shu, but he never thought of saving his mother Bo's life. Wushuang reached out and grabbed Bo Shi's hand, saying with a smile, "Mother, don't worry, in the future, your daughter will let you eat white noodles and meat every day." "If you don't want to eat it until you eat it, mother," she said. Bai Shi smiled with tears in his eyes and said, "This is white noodles, it's meat. How could it be so delicious that I don't want to eat it?" Seeing Wushuang never eating noodles, Bai urged, "You should also eat noodles quickly, don't wait for it to get cold. Not to mention, the shop's craftsmanship is good. After heating up, the noodles are not only a bit broken, but also have a great taste." After finishing a large bowl of noodles, Wushuang realized that she had reduced her appetite. She thought a bowl of noodles would fill her stomach after finishing it herself, but in fact, after eating a bowl of noodles, she thought she could still eat 3 more bowls. However, Wushuang has no intention of continuing to eat. The longer they are hungry, the less they can suddenly eat too much. After Wushuang and Bashi finished their noodles, the boss bought everything and came back. "Whether it's a blank plaque or paint, I bought the best." The boss didn't even do business for this plaque. Put several tables together and place a plaque for unparalleled drawing. Wushuang also wants to earn the remaining 1 or 2 silver as soon as possible, and start painting immediately when everything is in place. This painting went from dawn to darkness. The boss, in order not to disturb Wushuang, almost found all the candles in the house and lit them next to Wushuang. The surroundings of the unparalleled painting were not dark at all, and it was not until midnight that the plaque was painted. After finishing drawing the plaque, Wushuang's waist couldn't straighten up due to bending for too long. Bo immediately came over with heartache to help Wushuang rub her waist and relieve discomfort. This time, Wushuang was even more careful than drawing on paper. After drawing, it looked like there was really a large bowl of steaming hot meat noodles placed on a plaque. Among a group of plaques with only text, hanging this plaque is definitely the most eye-catching one. The boss's satisfied lips couldn't even drop. Not only did he happily give the remaining 1 or 2 silver to Wushuang, but he also personally cooked 2 large bowls of meaty noodles. A large piece of meat was placed on the surface to entertain Wushuang and Bo Shi. I finally tasted the best flavor of this bowl of noodles after eating freshly cooked meat noodles this time. The noodles are strong and the meat is savory, and the original flavor of the ingredients is stimulated to the extreme. It is truly delicious. After Wushuang and Bo Shi finished eating, the boss cleaned up another empty room. "Miss Lu, Madam Bai, there is already a curfew outside and no one can leave. I apologize for the two of you staying overnight at my noodle shop." Bo said thank you in a low, almost inaudible voice. Wu Shuang noticed that Bai Shi had some social anxiety and could only speak up on his own. "Thank you very much for taking me in, boss. Thank you so much. Otherwise, we mother and daughter wouldn't know where to spend this night." "Miss Wu Shuang, you're welcome. Then I won't disturb your rest. The stove outside is warm with hot water. If you're thirsty at night, please help yourself." The next morning, bidding farewell to the noodle shop owner, Wu Shuang bought 6 large buns for breakfast at the nearby bun shop. This steamed bun costs 3 yuan each. It's a bit expensive, but it's about the size of a fist, and the meat filling inside is authentic. Wu Shuang eats 2, let Bai Shi eat 4. Bo Shi was reluctant to part ways, and it took a lot of effort for Wu Shuang to let Bo Shi eat all the steamed buns. After breakfast, Wu Shuang took Bai Shi to the grain shop and bought 10 pounds of brown rice and 10 pounds of black noodles. Originally, Wu Shuang wanted to buy fine grains, but Bo Shi said nothing and wanted to save money. Wu Shuang couldn't resist her, and could only think that if she earned more money, Bo Shi wouldn't be so frugal and let her go first. "I bought grain and then went to buy clothes," but this time Wu Shuang did not follow Bashi's choice to buy fabric and make it himself. "Mom, the weather is so cold now, making clothes by oneself is too slow. If we get sick from freezing, we can buy 2 pieces of clothing with the money we spend on medical treatment and medication at the clinic." However, Bai said, "It won't break from the cold. It's very hot in that snowy room, so you can wear fewer clothes. You can wait until your clothes are ready before going out." Wu Shuang. She was speechless for a moment. Wu Shuang sighed and said, "Mother, do you think if your daughter draws a plaque for someone, can it make those who see her want to eat noodles?" After thinking for a moment, Bai said, "The noodles on the plaque painted by Yaya look very appetizing. I definitely want to eat them when I see them." Wu Shuang said, "Yes, Mom, you look like you want to eat, and others also want to eat. Those who can afford it will go eat noodles. The business of that boss's noodle shop is not very good. If there are too many people eating noodles because of the plaque I drew, the person next to me must also want to invite my daughter to draw the plaque. Maybe someone will come to ask their daughter to draw a plaque tomorrow. You can't make clothes in a day, Mom. It's embarrassing for my daughter to dress so unsightly when dealing with these bosses." After a moment of thought, Bai shook and said, "Then, Mom can buy you a piece of clothing. Mom's clothes should still be made by herself." Wu Shuang continued to deceive, "Don't, I'll go out and draw a plaque. Mom, can you rest assured if you don't follow me?" Bo shook his head and said, "Don't worry." Wu Shuang said, "Yes, since you're not at ease, you definitely have to follow your daughter. At that time, those bosses will see that their daughter is dressed neatly, but they will make you wear tattered clothes, which will definitely be unfilial and have a bad character." "Who said you're not filial? Yaya is the most filial." Upon hearing that her daughter was about to be accused of unfilial piety, Bo Shi became anxious. Wu Shuang immediately pulled Bai Shi towards the ready-to-wear store and said, "Yes, in order not to let others say that your daughter is unfilial, you must buy a set of clothes today." This time, Wu Shuang successfully brought Bai Shi into the ready-to-wear store, and Wu Shuang directly ordered 4 sets of the thickest jackets and skirts. 2 sets are worn by Wu Shuang and Bai Shi, and the other 2 sets are given to Ma and Qian Shi. The original owner and the orphaned mother of the Bai family were taken care of by the Ma and Qian families in the past. This time when they went out, the 2 of them even took off their clothes to Wu Shuang and Bo Shi. This feeling must be remembered. Bo was reluctant to buy clothes for himself, but when it came to giving clothes to Ma and Qian, there was no objection. Finally, Wu Shuang bought 4 sets of cotton jackets and skirts for 300 yuan per set. 2 taels of silver has dropped by more than half. Even the unparalleled dim sum is so painful. But thinking about people freezing to death and not being able to spend money, I feel relieved. There is a place in the store to change fitting clothes, and Wushuang and Bashi immediately changed into the clothes they had bought. After changing into a jacket and skirt, my body quickly warmed up. It is indeed a clothes worth 300 won, and the material used is better and warmer than linen. When Bo spent money, he felt heartbroken, but he was still very happy when he put on new clothes. The warmth on my body makes the coldness on my feet more noticeable. There is one more chapter at 8 o'clock, end of this chapter. Chapter 6. Female Matchmaker Does Not Climb the Bed 6. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 7. Female Matchmaker Does Not Climb the Bed 7. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 8. Female Matchmaker Does Not Climb the Bed 8. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 9. Female Matchmaker Does Not Climb the Bed 9. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 10. Female Matchmaker Does Not Climb the Bed 10. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 10. Female Matchmaker Does Not Climb the Bed 10. A large table of dishes was eaten by Wushuang and Bashi. In fact, the food at the inn is not very exquisite, but Wushuang has never eaten good food before and the food is also very delicious. The next morning, Wushuang pulled by Shi and prepared to go to the noodle shop where she drew plaques, while also having a bowl of noodles. After a day, the noodle shop, which had originally had few guests, has become lively. The people who come to eat noodles come and go, and compared to before, the difference is too big. As soon as Wushuang appeared here, the owners of the nearby Baozi shop and dumpling restaurant rushed out, blocking Wushuang's path one by one. The sudden appearance of two big men blocking the road startled Wushuang and Bo Shi. Bo's first reaction was to grab Wushuang tightly and hold him tightly in his arms. Unexpectedly, the two men had no intention of moving forward. The owner of the steamed bun shop smiled at Wushuang. "Oh, Miss Wushuang, but it's time for you. Hurry up, help me draw a plaque for my steamed bun shop. On the other hand, I'll see Miss Wushuang first." The dumpling restaurant owner stumbled over the bun shop owner with one shoulder, and then looked at Wushuang with a smile on his face. "Miss Wushuang, you need to draw a plaque for my dumpling restaurant first. Don't worry, the polishing fee is not a problem. Why should I draw for you first? Even though I came first, Miss Wushuang should have drawn for me first. The unparalleled girl I saw first, come later, also draw for me first. I'll come to Miss Wushuang first, draw for me first." At first, Bo Shi saw two men rushing towards him and was quite frightened. Then she saw these two big men, first smiling at their daughter and begging for a plaque, and then the two of them started arguing with each other. Bo Shi was not afraid anymore. On the contrary, she looked at the two men with red faces and thick necks, but instead felt a sense of pride. Look at her daughter, how excellent she is. A plaque brings up a noodle shop, and whoever's daughter has this ability is not even the daughter of the village head's family. As the two bosses were about to fight, Wushuang hurriedly said, "Well, stop arguing. I won't draw plaques for both of you within 10 days. The owner of the steamed bun shop and the owner of the dumpling restaurant were both dumbfounded, looking at Wushuang and saying in unison, "Why?" Wushuang pointed to the noodle shop and said, "The noodles made by this noodle shop are delicious, but the business is not good. The reason is that this shop is sandwiched between the shops of your two families, and it is even more backward than the shops of your two families. People who come here cannot see the noodle shop, so they go first to your two families. I drew a plaque for him to attract customers. If I also drew plaques for both of you, the customers would skip his house. So we have to wait for 10 days. During these 10 days, their reputation can attract customers, and then I can draw a plaque for you. Now the owner of the steamed bun shop and the owner of the dumpling restaurant had nothing to say, and the two had to sigh, "Miss Wushuang, you're so kind." At this moment, the Baozi shop owner suddenly took out a small ingot of silver and delivered it to Wushuang. "Then I can place a deposit of 1 or 2 silver first. After 10 days, Miss Wushuang remembers to come and draw a plaque for me." The owner of the dumpling restaurant became anxious and said, "Hey, you cunning guy, you actually took the lead in placing a deposit." As he spoke, the dumpling restaurant owner also took out 1 or 2 silver coins to Wushuang and said, "Miss Wushuang, I will also place a deposit. 10 days later, I will place a second plaque." This time, Wushuang accepted the silver and promised, "Don't worry, I'll start drawing your plaque in 10 days. And within these 10 days, I won't draw a plaque for anyone on this entire street." Wushuang promises like this, so you don't have to worry about others drawing plaques to grab business ahead of time. The owner of the steamed bun shop and the owner of the dumpling restaurant praised Wushuang with a bunch of good words, and then left satisfied. Seeing the two men leave, Bo Shi breathed a sigh of relief without leaving a trace. Feeling the 2 taels of silver that my daughter had put into her hand, she carefully put them into her purse and hid them in her chest. There were 4 taels of silver to be received again, and Bo Shi felt satisfied. "Yaya, are you hungry? Let's go eat. If Miss Wushuang and Lady Bai don't mind, come and have a meal of noodles at my house." The sudden sound startled Wushuang and Bai Shi. They turned around and saw the noodle shop owner standing behind them. The noodle shop owner bowed to Wushuang and clasped his fists, saying, "Thank you, Miss Wushuang, for considering my business and postponing the time to draw a plaque for someone else. I don't have much to be grateful for. Please come home and have 2 bowls of noodles, let me express my feelings." Wushuang felt a bit embarrassed and said, "You don't need to do this. I should have done it myself. Besides, I didn't lose anything. I still did the plaque business, just postponed it for a few days." The noodle shop owner immediately said, "Miss Wushuang, if you are willing to postpone for a few days, the impact on my noodle shop is very important. Miss, please don't refuse." The owner of this noodle shop is truly a businessman. He is so eloquent that in the end, Wushuang could only go to the noodle shop with Bo Shi and let the owner serve noodles. This time, the boss not only made 2 super large bowls of minced meat noodles, but also cut a large plate full of meat and served it separately. The noodles are still so delicious, and the food is unparalleled and satisfying. No wonder the boss's business has become so popular in just 1 day. It seems that the plaque is the introduction, and the real reason is that the guests are attracted by the fancy plaque and then retained by the taste of the noodles. After finishing his meal, the noodle shop owner said to Wushuang when he was collecting the dishes, "Miss Wushuang, I have a relative who runs a grocery store in the south of the city. Coincidentally, he came to me yesterday and was very moved when he saw my plaque. If you could also draw a plaque for the grocery store, he would like to ask you to do so." Wushuang thought for a moment but didn't agree directly. Instead, he said, "I can draw a small sample on the paper and show it to the other party. If you're satisfied, I'll go draw for him. If you're not satisfied, it's okay." The noodle shop owner naturally won't refuse. In this way, if the other party doesn't like it, they can still go back on their word, which is better than directly drawing on the plaque without going back. The noodle shop owner immediately prepared paper and pens, as well as the remaining paint from the last time Wushuang painted his family's plaque. Wushuang mixed the paint while pondering how to draw this plaque. In the grocery store, there are all kinds of groceries, including oil, salt, soy sauce, vinegar, and sugar. It is best to have a sign on the grocery store that most of the items in the store can be seen. Wushuang thought for a moment and turned all the things in the grocery store into personified Q.versions, and even compiled them into small stories one by one. For example, the Q.version character of a wine bottle is running in front, holding broom hair in his hand and smiling mischievously on his face. The Q.version character of the broom is holding up a panicked dustpan and chasing after him. The Q. Version of the character is simple and fast to draw, and soon the sample of the plaque was drawn by Wushuang. End of this chapter.